Let's talk about DC domes. So why would you want to shoot a DC dome? Well, if you have a camera like here, I have the RX100 Mark VII behind the flat port that comes with the housing. When you have light passing from one medium to another, in this case you're underwater, and light is passing from the water through that flat glass into your camera, we have refraction, which means that you're going to narrow your image down, your field of view, about 30%. So what you can do to correct for that is you can take this flat port off and replace it with the DC dome. Now there's several models that we offer this for. Today we'll just be talking about the RX100 Mark VII, but they all function in the same way as far as physics is concerned. Because the DC dome port doesn't have the ability for water to go in between it and the port itself, because it becomes the new port, you can shoot over-unders where you can split the water line and you don't have to worry about an additional water line dropping between two pieces. So let's dive right into taking this flat port off and putting the DC dome port on. What you're going to need is a rubber strap wrench to get the flat port that's existing on the housing off. Take the rubber strap wrench like so. The direction that this is pointing is the direction that you're going to be loosening, so in this case lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Get that around your flat port. Cinch up your rubber strap. And then you'll be able to remove and loosen your flat port. Take this, keep it. Check your sealing surface. Set that aside for now. Let's turn our attention to the DC dome port. What I like to do is take the flat port and put it back into the DC dome port box. That way I know where it's at. Remove the neoprene cover from the DC dome port. Open up the accessory packet. You'll have an Allen key. We'll use that to adjust the shade, and we have some lubricant. So, inspect your dome port. Take the included lubricant. Take a little bit on your fingers. Now this is a compression seal, so it doesn't need lubricant in this case to create the seal or overcome friction. We're using this lubricant to overcome the friction as the O-ring tightens down when you thread it. So what I like to do is take a little bit on my fingers, and I like to run a little bit around the O-ring. And I like to also take a little bit and put it around the sealing surface that we're about to thread into. From here, let's go ahead and loosen what you could have done before. Let's go ahead and loosen the 3 set screws here on the shade. And we will remove the shade completely because we'll put it back on and we'll allow it to align it perfectly. Set that aside. Carefully, don't cross thread the port onto the housing. Should thread down in just like so. You'll feel it bottom out. And because this has a lot more leverage due to the diameter, you don't really need the rubber strap wrench. You can make sure it's nice and snug onto the port itself. And then you can take your shade, and we removed it so that we could align the shade at the top or noon position. And all we have to do is realign the shade, take the included hex key, and just snug down each of the 3 set screws. These don't need to be over tightened, just to make sure that the shade doesn't come off of the port. And putting a DC dome port on your housing is as simple as that. If you have any questions whatsoever about DC dome ports, if your housing is compatible, what to use, how to use it, drop a comment down below or shoot us an email to ikelite@ikelite.com.